Greetings everyone, I'm HollywoodBigBoss, and this is the former Pontiac League of Duelists member, Randy Smith, better known as Sagemaster. Good to have you back, man.
So, no problem.
So, if at all possible, could you give me just a brief overview of what dueling was like when we were in Chautauqua Park?
Well, the experience from Chautauqua Park and the high school are completely different, honestly. But if I had to say, in my opinion, I'd say more or less I liked the dueling that we did at the high school, just because it was better. Because of the simple fact that nobody really said anything toward it, and every time somebody did, we'd always get down their throat about it. But the Chautauqua Park, that was pretty fun too, because I was able to get a hold of a lot of friends, and we had fun beating each other up with cars and everything, you know. Honestly, I think it was pretty fun, because every now and then, well, actually it was every time we had a big time duel, every time we had a big contest, that I'd end up winning cards. It wasn't every time that I won, but I'd say it was pretty fun, because of the simple fact that I used to win cards, hang out with friends, and do something that I love doing. I loved dueling at the time.
And also an overview of what the high school dueling was like and the differences between that and Chautauqua Park. If you could elaborate on that just a little bit.
No problem. Well, it was pretty much every day in the morning during breakfast hour. I'd show up normally around 7:30, 7:45. There'd always be at least one or two duelists there already, and we'd sit down at a table, normally one up towards the front, where you went to go pick up the food from. I don't know if you've ever been to, well, I know you've been, but I don't know if the watchers have ever been to the high school. But anyway, it was pretty fun, because of the simple fact that we would always sit there and just play with cards, and every time somebody said something, like as I said a couple minutes ago, that it was pretty fun, because every time somebody got on our back about it, we'd normally just tell them, hey, you know, we really don't care what you think. We have a lot of fun doing this. This is one thing that makes us us. We like being different. But anyway, that was pretty fun too, because normally we'd play for each other's breakfast entrees or something like that, or you know, we'd play for a card every now and then. I honestly liked it though, because it was pretty much everybody at the high school. We'd get down and do it almost every day. Every duelist that would come in that actually wanted to show the world that he was a duelist and actually didn't care what everybody thought about it. I was one of the people, you were one of the people, Brian Adams, Dale Ben. There was quite a few people. We all had fun with it. I thought it was a great time. But to explain the differences between the Chautauqua Park dueling and the high school dueling, there really wasn't any differences. It was just more people at the Chautauqua Park, but it was funner at the high school.
But at Chautauqua Park there was a lot broader age range as far as duelists, too.
Yeah.
There were kids from probably grade school showing up there, as opposed to the high school. You just had that age bracket showing up.
Right. There was, I guess that would be more or less one of the special differences, I guess. There was quite a big age range from the Chautauqua Park duels and the high school duels. It was just all high schoolers. That was kind of annoying. I actually like finding kids, you know, grade school kids that were really good at dueling, and I actually liked it a lot. That was really fun for me.
Okay. And out of the deck strategies which you used, could you name off just a few of them if you could remember?
Well, honestly, I like the spirit monsters a lot. The spirit monsters, I guess I'll call it.
I know you used Yatagarasu there for a while.
Yeah, he was one of my most favorite spirit monsters. I just loved the way he looked, mainly. That was the only reason that I really liked using him. I really didn't care for his effect. It was a nice effect, don't get me wrong. It actually helped me out quite often, but I did like him. I also liked the Yamada Dragon, and I forgot the name of it, but the big old Tai Chi type looking guy. There you go. I forgot his name. Anyway, I used him, Yamada Dragon, Yatagarasu, and there was a couple other small time ones that I liked using, but I really don't particularly care to name them. See, the main thing I always used in my decks were the really rare but awesome cards, and for some reason I just liked them. I don't know why. Everybody says that it was a dumb idea to use rare cards because of how often people like stealing your cards.
Going into the stealing your cards thing, at the Chautauqua Park duels and the high school ones, how bad would you say card theft was in your years dueling there?
Well, honestly, I never really had any personal experience with anybody stealing my cards because I was a really good friend, and not only that, I wasn't afraid to hit somebody like some of the other kids were back at the time. I'm not trying to brag about that or anything, but I'm the kind of person that really don't care about anything except for what I want and what I like. But other than that, from all the stories that I heard, everybody always had a big problem with the cards being stolen, and I honestly went kind of vigilante there for a little while, waiting for somebody to snag a card of mine, but it never happened.
With Dale Bend one time, I don't think you were there at the thing that happened, but he did jokingly try to steal my injection very lily. However, more than one person saw him do it. I think he did it intentionally, and we chased him down, captured him, and he had to relinquish said card. But on a different subject, though, there were about 10 different cards that I'd say the rarest one would probably have been my collector tin Jinzo, was stolen there at the Chautauqua Park duels. Now the difference between that and the high school with me was that the high school years I never had a card stolen.
Exactly. That I did appreciate. I did like the fact that at the high school there was no said cases of anybody stealing any of the cards, or at least nobody told me anything about it. I didn't hear very much of any card thefts from the high school. Although I do tell you this much, if there was anybody that I ever heard about it and it was somebody that I knew or somebody that I considered a friend, I would normally snap on them. That's the way I am. But honestly, I think that pretty much everybody that tried stealing the cards was honestly, don't take my wrong name calling for this, but I think they were a bunch of pussies, honestly. Every time somebody tried snagging a card, I think that was honestly some straight up bullcrap. I do honestly see it as being bogus. They can't ever go out and work for their own cards. I'm the kind of person that I never get anything bought for me. I like trading for it. I don't know if you remember, but I like trading for my stuff. I don't like buying or selling.
The Dark Magician of Chaos that you got for me especially, though.
Yeah, that I really like that. That was one of my most favorite finds, and that was also one of my most prized possessions.
As well as the Arcanus Dark Magician that you got for me too.
Yes.
Out of all the cards,
Beautiful.
though, what would you say would have had to been your hands down favorite?
The Arcanus Dark Magician. Beautiful card. I love the way he looked, and for some reason I think Arcanum reminds me a lot of me as a duelist. I like to mess with people's heads. I like to get down and crazy with it, you know.
Yes. However, there was one duel where you did actually make one mistake, and that was forgetting how many life points you had with injection very low.
Yes.
And you won just because you paid using her effect against me.
Yep.
And I still cannot believe that that happened, that I had won that duel.
Yeah. I do admit I made quite a few fatal mistakes every now and then, but heck, who doesn't, you know? Only reason it was kind of weird coming from me is because I'm the kind of person that normally pays a lot of attention to that kind of stuff. But like I said, you know, I really don't care who wins, who loses. I just was there for the competition. I like competition.
Okay.